threes. Chiefs and Elevate both on very fertile soil for their own records. Chiefs will ban first as they start as defenders. They will get rid of the Ying.
Yeah.
Now, any predictions before the bans come in? You gotta be quick.
Monty. It'll be Monty. It'll be Monty, it'll be Kaid.
So
Elevate, they ban the same operators on Bank every single time they play it. So that's a pretty easy prediction. Should be Monty, should be Kaid, should be a Valkyrie from Chiefs. Actually, the only one that's hard to predict was the Chiefs attacker ban because they switched it up quite a bit. The Ying, I think, is new. I thought maybe we'd see like a Habana coming out from Chiefs or something on the attack. They actually do ban a lot of Monty themselves, but because it's the perma ban for Elevate, I didn't expect to see it here in this game. This should be a Valkyrie, unless they're going crazy with it. It does leave a zombie up on the board. There we go. Very predictable map ban phase with the sole exception of Ying. That was the wild card. I wasn't sure where it was going to go. I think Ying's a very reasonable ban. One of the strongest operators that we have on attack. Really can define the round around her. So makes sense to take that out of the pool. Valkyrie's expected. Leave some powerful operators up. We're going to see quite a few of them, I would say, in this first round. It's going to leave Goyo up, who's very good on that basement floor. It's going to leave Mira up, who's very good on the top floor and the basement floor. And it's going to leave a Clash up, which we don't see very often on Bank. You'll see it sometimes on the basement, which is where we'll see it in our very first round. I'm actually not a huge fan of this setup with the Clash. I find often the Clash sits in server, stalls for a little bit of time, and then immediately dies without getting a whole lot of value out of it. I'll be interested to see how Chiefs deploy Cairo on this Clash, because that absolutely could be something worth watching for. The other combo of operators, of course, will be Aruni and Tuberau. Aruni is particularly cool on this basement bomb site because if you put a Surya Gate on the server hatch, you can go down below and you can stand on the little table that's inside of server in the top right part of your screen, and it will temporarily... Did they already destroy a Goyo canister? How did that happen? Okay.
It's not good.
No. Anyways, if you want to put a Surya Gate on the server hatch, you can stand on that desk right there. It will turn the Surya Gate off, and then the attackers can't burn it until they put, say, an X-Kairos on it, and then you can hop off, and it'll burn the X-Kairos.
Quiz eliminating Shed early on, and there goes Nyquil as well. Both to Quiz. All right. Well, I guess that's a funny one. Speakeasy is a name that many will know as long as you've been watching top-level Rainbow Six for so long. He was a member of that original Aerowolf core roster that would later become Giants Gaming, and then I think they were Invictus briefly, and they went back and forth and back and forth. Down goes Speakeasy. A single point of damage has been done from Chiefs. They've eliminated 3 players on the side of Elevate in the first 45 seconds. This is one of the best openings that we have seen from a defending team all stage long. And it's not like Elevate went for a rush play here. They were just trying to get in the building, and they got slaughtered on the way there.
Yeah, not a bad start from Quiz. It's going to get even harder, of course, with this Clash. Managed to do with the Surya Gate that I was talking about earlier. At the end of the day, Rainbow Six is a fun game because it's like you can have all the coolest strategies in the world for holding down the bomb site, but if one guy just goes and gets like a double kill and a third right after, it's like all this util that they put towards server, all the cool ideas they had probably won't matter. They're going to win the round regardless unless a miracle comes out from Macy or Ape.
Admittedly, I don't love the man.
No.
But there's always a Mike Tyson quote that jumps to mind whenever we're talking about a situation like this, and he says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And that's really what it is. You can have the best strategy in the world, but at the end of the day, if you lose one of your most important pieces to a spawn peak, you are in serious trouble. Ape last alive in a 1v4, and Tex finishes that off. Tex did really little that. Nobody needed to. Quiz starting off with the great round that really did puncture whatever hopes Elevate had in round 1. And Chiefs off to a screaming start.
You know, being from Australia, one of the warmest continents that we have here on planet Earth, and coming to Montreal, it felt like the cold maybe stunted Quiz a little bit. In the very first phase, Quiz was -3 overall. He really did not find a lot of success when they were playing through the play-ins, but so far, yesterday in phase 2, he was +9, the best player in both of the BO1s that Chiefs played earlier yesterday against both Scars and Liquid. Been one of the really strong players that has brought them to this point in the tournament. Maybe wasn't quite there at the beginning, but is getting adjusted to the climate, and I really appreciate that coming out from Quiz, having those big moments, settling a little bit, of course, his first international event. The 22-year-old's been playing around OCE for quite a while, on lower level teams, but this will be his first time now on Chiefs to make it to a major. So we're hoping to see some good stuff out of him, and I think so far he's delivered.
I will trip myself up on Enhyquil's name, by the way.
And I call.
I will trip myself up on it.
It's N-I-Call and it's Ape. It's not Ape.
Yes, I know. I said Ape.
I said Ape. So, apologize for that.
Thank you for apologizing. I really appreciate that. Well, it happened again, but this time the other way. Oda dying means that there goes your smoke. Both of these teams are having an awful lot of fun in the chat. I'm sure that you're all taking note of it as well. The chat is actually live at this moment, and there's a run out from Quiz. Can he make it back alive? Yes, he can. He missed opportunity there from Enhyquil to get that final hit onto him as he faded into the sewers and now back down towards server. But there's only really one way to go at this point, so at least Elevate are aware of his general location. Still outside of the building, and despite getting that opening pick, losing. One of your two hard breachers can usually be quite damning on this bomb site. Thermites will be using their exothermic charges on the square walls more often than not. If you're bringing a Hibana or an Ace, it's to get the double panel wall, often referred to as Kanto spot, which is by the elevators on that top floor, or over here towards stock/trading. Ape with a pick onto Quiz. So that was the jump out that, as he was trying to get back to the bomb site, gets caught by Elevate, and the Southeast Asian team has an advantage.
You like to see that. Good utility work coming out, of course, from the Zero as well. Got 2 extra cameras not too long ago. Goes from 4 to 6 Argus cams now. They're kind of ridiculous. Speakeasy not actually getting any use out of those 2 extra cams, as they are still sitting in his pocket, but later in the round could try to utilize some of those. Text for a flank, but it's immediately shut down. He missed his first couple of shots, and that was answered. Jigsaw found one as well. They're in the site, wanting to go for this push.
It's all up to Jigsaw, who's doing some talking in chat and now has to do his talking inside the server. Shed collapsing on him, the shield staring him down, and there were very limited ways for Amazi to get out of that position in a positive direction. Elevate answering back in that second round. Both rounds so far being very different from one another. I don't want to say sloppy, but certainly very messy, very loose. We have a tech pause now as there seems to be an issue on the side of Elevate.
It's a bit aggressive.
Yes.
A lot of early fighting. I would say so far this game, if this does keep up, this will be the fastest game of Siege, at least if it goes to a short number of rounds. The rounds themselves have been very, very quick in terms of how quickly we're getting into these gunfights. Historically, it's been, APAC's been a region that has maybe suffered with some of this, with over-aggression at times. I think it's gotten a lot better over the time, and I think the stereotype is often not as true as it used to be. But we do still see that coming out of the weaker regions sometimes here in Siege, where oftentimes they rely a little bit more on the aggression, a little bit more on the surprise plays earlier on, partially because they just don't have as solid of the fundamentals when they get into the late round for more of a 5-on-5 style of execute. Not to say that that is the case with these teams, because again, I really think that the APAC's improved quite a bit to this point, and I expect to see some great late round stuff coming out from these teams, but so far that's not the style that has been brought, and mostly it's been Chiefs who have been deciding to run with this playstyle. They're the ones who are jumping out of windows. They're the ones who are going for these aggressive peaks. Obviously, Quiz has been a big part of that. He's been so effective so far. And so it'll really be on him and the rest of his team to kind of make the decision on when and if they ever want to rein that in.
Looks like there's issues with 3 players on the side of Elevate right now, as 2.5 players are in the lobby. Shed is in the lobby, but is not loaded in.
Yep.
As for Ape, he's not in it. Sounds like he's restarting his client at the moment. Something's going wrong in-game, I'm not sure, but the admins are more than capable of going through this.
I have a fun fact for you, Parker, while we're in this tech pause.
Oh boy, I love your fun facts. They're
As
so
I told you,
great.
Before we got into this game, 9 of the 10 players in our lobby come from islands. Not including, we're not getting this conversation, okay? Afro-Eurasia and the Americas are not counting as islands. But the 9 players that do come from islands hail from 5 different islands. Parker, do you know, can you guess what those islands might be? The 5 islands.
Australia's an island.
Yep, that's one.
The UK is an island.
Correct. Shed is from Great Britain.
I mean, Singapore is not an island, but it's on an island.
Yes.
Right?
The Singapore island. I don't know what the island itself is actually called, but you're right. Singapore is one.
Singapore's like a city-state.
Yes, but it's on an island. A couple of
Um,
islands, I believe.
and then I see a flag of, is that Hong Kong or Taiwan?
That is Hong Kong,
Is it Hong Kong?
but Hong Kong's not an island. It's a
I know
peninsula.
it's not. I'm
Okay.
aware of what Hong Kong is.
Okay.
Is there, I'm missing one?
You're missing two.
I'm missing two.
Two islands. They're tricky ones.
I want to see what the flags are. I want to see if I can guess it based off the flags.
I can give you the flags. Here you go. This is Elevate's flags. I assume you know Chiefs flags.
Okay, so that's Singapore.
Yep. That one should be Hong Kong, but yes.
That one should be Hong Kong. These two are. Is that Indonesia?
Yes. This is Indonesia. These are Singapore.
Oh, okay. No, we were right.
But you still need the island. Indonesia's quite a few islands.
How am I supposed to know that?
Ape is from the island of Java, and you're missing one.
Of course, the island of Java. How could I have ever forgotten that?
It's the primary island in Indonesia.
Okay. Did you know this information before you looked it up specifically for this broadcast?
I looked it up at the start of the tournament, not specifically for this.
Before you
broadcast.
looked it up at the
No.
start of the tournament? You just
To be
assumed-
clear, the document where this information was in was shared with you.
I'm aware, but I'm also not. You did this a lot during the NAL where you'd be like, Halen from West Texas, blah, blah, born and raised.
I don't think anybody's from Texas. Super is from Texas. There's probably some other players, but not off the
Being
top of my
obtuse.
head.
The point that I am making,
You're missing an island.
I'm missing lots of islands.
No, you're
Jesse,
missing
there
one.
are thousands of them.
You're missing one that one of these players hails from.
Which team are they on?
They're from Chiefs.
They're from Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Is it New Zealand?
Close. Good guess. Good guess.
Let me see. Let me see the flag.
Yeah, it's the flag of Australia.
Oh, so it's the island of Tasmania.
Jigsaw from the island of Tasmania. We went over this yesterday too.
We did. That's where Blundstones are from.
You keep saying this. I don't know what that means.
Blundstones are a type of boot. You absolutely know what they are.
A boot?
It's like boots, yes.
Oh.
Not like how Canadians say about. I mean, like they are boots that you wear.
I see. Why do they need boots in Australia if it never snows?
So it does snow in parts of Australia.
Not in Tasmania.
Okay.
I would guess. Actually, maybe you would.
Google
Because
it.
they're very far south.
Google it.
All right.
Google it.
Let's do a little Google.
Does it snow in Tasmania?
Tasmania. Tasmania's winters can also surprise you with snow, even at lower elevations.
So the answer is maybe.
Okay. Fair enough, Tasmania. My fault. Record low in Tasmania is minus 14 degrees Celsius.
Doesn't get very cold there.
No, not compared to
So it
Canada.
probably doesn't snow there.
No, it does, though. We went over this. We just went over this. What are you on about? I really do think that the people of Tasmania need more representation. We don't see a lot of that come out of these squads. But I think it's nice to get to know some of the history of these players, where they're hailing from. Maybe there are some Tasmanian viewers right now who have a new favorite player.
I hope you understand that you jinxed this, by the way.
I did say this.
You're like, this is going to be one of the fastest matches we ever had, and now we've been in a tech pause for almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, sorry about that. That one's on me, chat. I apologize.
Do you think one of your other 5 favorite casters could have named all the islands?
I bet you they could have. I know Stokes would have sniped that.
You think Stokes knows that Java is an island?
I do. I think Stokes would have sniped that.
I don't think Stokes can name every single American state. Do you think he knows an island in Indonesia?
Yeah.
You didn't even know it. You're Mr.
What do you
Geo.
mean?
You're
I know the
Mr.
island-
GeoGuessr yourself.
I knew the island existed. I didn't know the guy was from the island. Obviously, I know the islands of Indonesia.
Obviously.
There's Java, there's Borneo, there's Sumatra.
I know Borneo. You know how I know Borneo?
Because it's a TF2 map?
No, because that was the first place that Survivor went to.
Really?
I believe so. Google it. I believe Survivor Borneo was the first season of Survivor. Kicking off. Kicking off.
Borneo! Well
The
done.
reality TV craze in the 2000s. Literally in the year 2000. What a way to ring in the millennia.
Sulawesi would be the fourth and final main
Ah,
island
of course.
of
Yes, of course.
Indonesia.
My favorite island of Indonesia.
They have many islands, but there's 4 main ones, 4
Oh.
big ones.
How many islands does Canada have?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot in the north that
What's our
nobody ever
biggest
goes
island
to.
called?
Baffin Island.
That's correct. Okay, there you go. Very proud of you.
Yeah, listen, me and islands, okay? I rock that.
Do you know that North America, the Americas are an island?
Okay, you keep talking about this. Monkey. Is that a monkey?
It looks like, it kind of looks like a sloth.
Yeah. Shoot. I know islands much better than animals.
That is evident.
Yeah.
What if you were on an island full of monkeys and sloths?
I think that would be wonderful. I think I get sloths on TikTok sometimes where they just pop up and they're the cutest little things.
I don't know if you remember when. I don't even actually know if you were involved in the esport when Young was still an active player. I can't remember if he retired at the same time around that you came in, but
I was tier 2 caster at that point.
he
Yeah.
branded himself as the Sloth. All of his stuff was sloth adjacent.
Mm.
And then we had a player named Slothy.
Yes.
Still playing, as far as I'm aware.
Liquipedia.
We got time. We still have no more information for you, by the way.
Yeah, the lobby looks exactly the same as it did 20 minutes ago.
Nothing
I
has
won't lie.
changed.
I won't lie to you. Slothy is a Rainbow Six Siege player who last played for Hush in September 2024, 2 months ago. Was playing in tier 2, tier 3. Together with Hush, they finished top 16 in the North American League 2024 Stage 2 Qualifier 3. They lost to Fluffy Aimers. Shout out to JJ Blast. Didn't think he'd be getting 2 shoutouts on this stream, did he? I messed up his team last time. I said he was from SG Academy. Roasted for that on Twitter. I apologized.
We have no updates for you at the moment. Not that we want you to leave our stream, but it is worth reminding you that the A stream is also ongoing at the moment.
True. I believe that is Space Station Gaming versus Virtus Pro. That's a great game.
It would be actually a very good game.
I'm picturing in my mind Ashen screaming across the field and all the players on Virtus Pro just sitting there with blank expressions because they're a very calm team. With the exception of Pasha, I don't think any of those guys have ever raised their voices in their lives.
I mean, they do definitely get animated, that's for sure.
Sure. I just have many memories of Joystick hitting like ridiculous 4Ks and 5Ks, and then we flick to his camera and he's just fist bumping. He's just like, yes, I clutched.
We've been told that the key issue here is that a keybind is not working for one of the players on the side of Elevate.
If we have any IT specialists in chat, please do put your suggestions in the Twitch chat as to how we can fix this. The admins are looking for a little bit of help. As a joke, obviously. You
Yes.
got the best and brightest working on the issue right now. I assure you of that. Getting this fixed as quick as possible. Although many would say that Twitch chat is the best and brightest.
Who is saying that?
I'm my producer in the ear right now. Still, though, we are getting into it. Chiefs and Elevate, I mean, this is kind of a battle to be the best in APAC. It's not quite because Scars will be 2-1. It would be fun if Scars ended up playing the winner of this. It would depend on the whole Swiss seeding system, which I'm not going to pretend to understand. But I know that we're going to be able to get another matchup between this team and, well, the next couple of teams that we see tomorrow for round 3 of Swiss. Round 4, I should say. This is round 3. But obviously, if we got Scars versus the winner of this, that would... I guess it couldn't be the winner. Scars lost.
With no end in sight at the moment and no real update as to the timing on this fix, I have bad news, and it's that we are going to go to a break until this is all sorted. As the admins and Elevate talk through this, we will await a resolution and come back, hopefully sooner rather than later, with round 3 and onwards of Chiefs and Elevate. See you in a few minutes. We stalled for as long as we could before throwing to a break because we don't like leaving you behind, but it turns out that calling a break was perfect because everything got rectified a matter of moments later, so you didn't really have a long period of downtime between when we said goodbye and now when we say hello.
You see, Parker, the fix was, as soon as we called a break, it freed me up to go investigate the issue. So I went down there myself. I said, I know the problem. I went click, 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 and I fixed it.
Why didn't you do that sooner?
I just enjoyed talking about islands with you. I enjoyed the time we spent together. I think the more that we get, the happier I will be. Okay, a little bit concerning there's no response to that. Round 3!
Because I'm ignoring you about your stupid islands comment.
Area.
I just sit here and enjoy you talking about islands for so long.
I said I liked spending time with you, and I got no response. That's a little bit, you know, that hurts.
Look, I like spending time with you too. I would like to do it when we are in a match, though, and not confined to a desk while you talk about every island that you know, and I sit here wanting to pull my eyes out of my skull with the spoon
I did not even
that I had in my hands at the start of this match.
I know so many more islands, to be clear.
Please, I will do anything to make it stop.
Okay, well, the game's playing, so unless there's another tech pause, which there's no way, I won't name any more islands. We've got Speakeasy, of course, here on the Ace. They've already made some great angles coming out from the Habana on the side of Macy, of course, opening up the Kanto wall up there through lobby into elevator. A couple of players holding top floor. It's mostly just going to be Jigsaw and Cairo, who are located around Janitor and the hallway behind it. These are the two players that are lightly holding on to the top floor. If they could get a pick and fall back, they'd feel really, really good. But I think their primary objective at this point is staying alive. They're not wanting to jump out the windows, not playing hyper-aggressive. That's what we saw for a lot of the first couple of rounds. Jigsaw likely has the hatch open. He does, and he sees a blitz and gets the hell out of there. Absolutely doesn't want any part of Shed on this operator. Now that the mute camera's been cleared out, he could flash somebody up there, but with nobody to find, he will just take the map control. Ape on the Buck is going to be able to do a lot of great work now that they have full top floor control. They got it pretty quickly. Again, not held very hard by Chiefs, so pretty free. They just had to threaten him with a little bit of blitz play. Now the blitz is going to be making his way in through Archive, and he will likely be pushing kind of into open area when this push actually gets underway. They've got intel on a player. This would be a big 1v1 for Shed to find. No, though.
Oh, Oda takes down Shed, traded back immediately. Speakeasy dies at the hands of the AA-12 by Tex. Numbers favoring the Chiefs. As this round has gone by very quickly, Jesse. They will do battle with open area, trying to open the small wall in the small office, or maybe the big wall in the small office, depending on how you look at it. That's Macy at the moment, bunkered down inside of Tellers. NyQuil is there too.
Hunting for the Azami at this point. They seem to know where Azami's at. That's text on the op. If Ape could sneak around and find a pick, that would be massive, but still doesn't see it. There's one for free.
Goodbye to Jigsaw. Ape with a single kill. Tex swinging out. Down goes NyQuil. Ape follows at the hands of Cairo. Now it's Macy. Macy. Going shopping for some kills. No, Cairo finishing things off. A long delay. All for Elevate to get back into the server and get given not a swift exit, but a relatively easy exit on behalf of the Chiefs. The Australian team goes up by 1 round.
Not a great execute coming up from Elevator, unfortunately. Top floor control looked really good. I thought maybe they'd turn that into an open area drop, perhaps, through the stock hatch, but it didn't end up going that way. They instead wanted to clear out through Archives and push that direction instead. And Chiefs just had really good angles. There was no way for them to find any player positions. They wanted to be pushing in with the blitz and making the space that way, but since the blitz was the opening death, they couldn't really do much of that. And so they didn't know where a lot of those player positions were. They ended up just staring at the bomb site for a long time, hoping for picks. Got a couple, but not enough. The trade's much better for Chiefs. So, turns out to be the right call from Chiefs to rein things in and play a little bit more passive. Obviously, the players cannot be discussing their strategy during the technical pause, right? They cannot be sitting there thinking about what they want to be doing for the next round. Well, they can think about it, but they can't be talking about it. And so I imagine while that was happening, all players were individually thinking about the game state and what they wanted to be doing in the next couple of rounds. And maybe they said to themselves, let's play it a little bit more passive. We've been jumping out of windows. We've been playing a little aggressive. Maybe we rein it in a little bit. after they had that time to think, I'm sure they definitely did discuss it once the round got unpaused. And so they went for that now. I love this Goyo that's on the server hatch that was just placed down and shown by our wonderful observer. It's being paired with a Surya gate as well coming out from Oda. It's a really awkward Goyo canister because you kind of have to pop it before you open the hatch, and then you've got to wait for it to burn out, then you got to open the hatch. If you open the hatch without popping the Goyo canister, which you could do with Habana, it's possible to do really with any other operator. Can openers are kind of clunky. You often can't get a good angle on it with the Goyo canister on top. Then all of a sudden, you know, even after the hatch gets popped, you still have to wait extra time. The name of the game for this basement bomb site on bank is always about stalling out the clock. You want these 3 minutes to go by as fast as possible if you are the Chiefs. And so if they manage to delay extra time with that Goyo canister, it can be really, really valuable. Sometimes those Goyos that get popped by Twitch drones, they don't really get much value. But if you put it on a hatch, it's pretty much guaranteed to stall it a good bit of time.
It's a valiant effort to get rid of some of those railings, by the way. Nyquil walks down the stairs. Goodbye to Tex. First pick for Elevate, and they almost get another. Ape tearing strips through Quiz, but not doing enough. Actually, might have been Oda who took some damage there. Hard to tell based on the HPs and the silhouettes of the players. There's fire from above. And there goes that Goyo canister, and now the hatch inside of small office will be opened up. Speakeasy using those X-Kairos so sufficiently. Cannot get over how many can openers are here. Like, you're not using them for the hatches. Like, what are you doing? I thought that's why teams usually bring them, but no, instead. Soft destruction can be done by hard destruction gadgets. That's what you got the X-Kairos for. That's what you've got the hard breach gadget for. Obviously, in a mirror window, will be great fodder for those X-Kairos. Speakeasy is a shotgun, by the way, on Hibana. That is, I'm assuming that is not a mistake.
Yeah, we see it sometimes.
Especially in APAC, by the way.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to take this mirror window down without clearing out gold, and that's the position that Cairo sits in. Fear those Grim Bees might be a little bit too late to keep them in position. Goyo canister goes with 35 seconds. That means 15 seconds to pull off the execute without taking any damage for Elevate.
Plant starting now from Speakeasy, and Wall in the main stairs does get taken out, so that's the back pressure immediately alleviated, but these hatch players are still strong. They get the hatch down. The Goyo canister wasn't able to stop it. The Nitro Cell is late, but it does find Speakeasy. Now it's a 2v3 as Jigsaw's been downed inside the site, meaning just these last two players have to hold the post plant. One of the strongest post plants in the game at the same time. 4 players, 2 of them extremely weak. They need to press up and get these kills. If they try to just sit on the disable, it will likely be denied from the hatch up above inside of server. That's the job of Shed. Macy's the one who needs to be holding this horizontal angle. He's likely going to die, but can he get some kills with him? I actually don't know where he is. This will be a free first kill through the mirror window 1, and then he does get punished by Jigsaw. Up above, the Capitao just didn't fire up the bolt fast enough.
He pulled out a secondary hard breach gadget. Oh. I don't know if he thought maybe he might have nades or flashes or what kind of gadgetry, but I'm confused by the way that Elevate played that given the numbers. All told, good defense from Chiefs. Keeping that mirror window in red, leading to that Lockers bomb site intact, was crucial. It allowed them to sit there and not be forced out of that spot. It gave them an extra angle of protection for Chiefs. And then, of course, you had that crouched mirror window that's going to be ejected inside a server, but just as holes go one way, they go the other way as well. So when Elevate had Macy, I believe it was, playing in that position at bottom blue, can very easily refrag the moment that they move out of position and into the line of fire, and that's exactly what Chiefs did, and then they just long-armed it enough that nobody could get to the Mira as she counter-disabled. Chiefs up 3-1 on bank.
Move to the top floor now. Azami is unbanned, but also unplayed. Very odd for this bomb site. We also see no Mira. Instead, you're looking at a Vigil, you're looking at a Mozzie, you're looking at a very aggressive lineup. Cairo and the Castle can often do very similar things to what an Azami wants to accomplish. Most teams will prefer the Azami. It's a little bit more of that, a little bit more of ability to block things. And you can also be reactive, of course, but oftentimes we see teams bring both at the same time, too. Not today, though. Instead, it's a 2-man roam down on the main floor and basement. Quiz and Jigsaw both playing below the site. Neither of them, I guess they both have impacts, so there is a little bit of an ability to deny the plant from below. Quiz has already used both of his. but Jigsaw will have the opportunity to stop a plant from below if they have that intel. On the side of the attack, Macy has brought out the Kali to try to deal with some of these castle barricades. This is something that we see quite a bit from Kino in North America, who loves the Kali sniper on this bomb site. He's not being shy with it. He is shooting open these windows. He is happy to let the Chiefs know exactly what operator he's playing. That sound cue will be really important for Chiefs to try to adapt onto this lineup. It's going to make quick work of those castle barricades. And now the stock player as well of Tech starting to be pushed out by this Hibana as the util work continues.
How many times has Kali been played so far? Do you have that data in front of you?
You're going to have to give me a sec, but yes.
Yes, I mean, I know you have this information. You are nerd boy / numbers boy. Kali is really not seen all that frequently. Glaz's pick rate has gone up, but
5 wins, 3 losses. Kali so far at this event.
that means 8.
Yep. Good math.
It's a higher win rate than I would have come to suspect, but I will also say that you're usually not bringing a Kali unless you have a very good idea of how to use her.
Yeah.
She is not an operator that you just plug and play. You have to build a strategy around her.
Kali actually had the highest win rate of any attacker in Stage 2. Obviously, you know, you're looking at a smaller sample size, and she is being brought for very specific reasons, but can be good in the right situation. Eniqual will be the opening death in this round. Cairo with a long angle, actually, from front desk, but it's a vert answer from Speakeasy, who finds Oda inside a janitor. Watch out, though. Remember these roamers that are down on the main floor. Not sure if Chiefs are aware of this. At the same time, Macy's able to find a big pick on attacks, playing on that rappel from the window. Answers after answers as that roam did work out for Quiz. They're still not able to get inside the site. It feels like all the angles are being held strong by Chiefs.
Cairo now is unfortunately blocked out by the same castle barricades he put down earlier on. What an impressive match so far for Cairo, sitting at 7-1. Macy with 1 kill on the Kali, and out comes one of the best sidearms in the game, as this will do it, seeing the Mozzie, and now it's up to Cairo to clutch out a missed opportunity as he hunts down the pings. A great run right now from the castle as Cairo just needs to play keep away long enough and does so successfully. Another round for Chiefs. They're up 4-1.
5 wins, 4 losses now. Kali not working out in that round. Unfortunate coming out from the Chiefs. It came close. Macy got 3 big kills, but it just wasn't enough. The real problem, at least part of it, were those roamers down below. Quiz was never spotted out by Elevate, and that meant that even though you had a buck downstairs, even though the buck was able to get a good pick onto the janitor player, when Quiz went for the flank, it was completely uncontested. At the same point, those top floor players were doing a good job winning their swings. The util wasn't always there because of Macy playing on that Kali, but end of the day, it did not matter. Shots were being hit, and Chiefs have taken a commanding lead in this game. Bank is one of the most 50-50 maps that we see in competitive Siege, sometimes leaning more towards the attackers, sometimes leaning more towards defenders. I will say, with a zombie up, you expect it to go maybe a little bit more towards the defense, but 4-1, if we get to a 5-1, man, this is starting to look very difficult for Elevate. Chiefs are not a team that most people had even getting out of Phase 1. For them to not only get out of Phase 1, but now go up 2-1 in the Swiss phase would absolutely be a big deal for them and their fans. The OCE region hasn't made main stage in years. The last one would it have been Fnatic the last time an OCE team played in front of a crowd?
I'm trying to remember if Bliss actually made it to main stage, and I want to say no.
No, they never did. I think they got top 8 at Invite, but only top 6 made main stage.
Fnatic making top 8 was a pretty common occurrence.
Yeah, way back in the day.
But yeah, I mean, I want to say it might have even been SI 2020 the last time that I remember Fnatic making it, because that would have been the last major international competition for that Fnatic roster, because then COVID hit shortly thereafter. There were no international competitions for 2 years, and Fnatic imploded before moving to Japan. Now they're in Europe.
They are, all over the place. And Eniqual's in the grave. Quiz, a great game. We didn't get a stat reset for the rehost, which was very nice, which means that we can still see the Quiz is putting up 6-2 through the first 6 rounds, maintaining a 1.00 kill per round stat. Very rare that we see team players hit over a 1.0 KPR. Certainly in the long run. In individual games, it does happen from time to time. That'll take the striker off the board. A lot of that secondary utility being removed. Quiz is not out of the weeds just yet, though. He's being droned, but what a shot! Ope deleted from the server, and he's hunting for more. Doesn't find the last pick on a speakeasy, but you gotta imagine. Job done from Quiz. 7 frags now in the first 6 rounds, and they've been looking so nice. Always playing on that aggressive roam and always getting good value.
Rotero drones now opening up some of that ceiling above the bomb sites in open area. Call it phantom pressure if you want, because the defenders have to move out of that spot. You never know if an attacker is going to reposition themselves upstairs in a way that can do further damage. Chiefs have the numbers advantage, and a 5-1 half is quite likely at the moment. This is a very different matchup from what we saw in Scars versus Secret, where there was an abundance of rounds that did not go the way we thought. Things have played out far more standard between these two teams. That's bad news for Elevate at the current point in time.
It certainly is. I mean, Quiz has been a big driving factor of that, but the rest of his team will need to be here to close this one out. In the 4v3, they're starting to get good explosive works. They got 2 guys up above, I should say, likely to be pushing square for this execute. If Macy can find an opening pick, that would be big, but I don't think he knows where Jigsaw just rotated towards.
No, that's the thing. When you're down numbers as Elevate is, you got nobody to watch, a dedicated flank watch. And Jigsaw is going to pay off tremendously with 1 player. Shed with 10 seconds left is wary of a play over towards blue. He's being watched by the Evil Eye as the fire in front of him dissipates. He's last alive and last to die. As Tex and Oda get the final 2 kills. Tex playing very conservatively, getting picks when needed, though not being a significant part of the early to mid round for Chiefs. What a performance through these first 6 rounds. Bank might hold the distinction of being favorable to the defenders, but certainly not so much so that a team does a 5-1 half starting on defense.
Yeah, we really need to see some better stuff coming out from Elevate. These early rounds constantly getting away from them. The man advantage is always favoring Chiefs. The early rounds being dominated by them, and that's largely due to Quiz. Cairo's been huge as well, kind of in the early to mid round alongside Quiz. So that's got to be a big focus for Elevate, winning some of those more entry engagements. Typically on Elevate, that job will fall to NIQual. NIQual's 18-year-old rookie coming in onto this team. It's his very first time ever playing at a Tier 1 level this year, and he is their primary entry. He's supposed to be the main one to get aggressive and get those kills. See Ope getting involved sometimes in the opening pick as well for this squad. Typically more often on the defense we see that, but even still, I mean, these are the players that we really need to be looking towards to make the big moves, to make the impact plays. NIQual currently negative. Ope currently just 1 kill to his name. Find some way to shut down Quiz. He's been so good today. Cairo as well, but Quiz and the entries have had very impactful picks. If they can do that, there's hope. But if not, this one feels like it's starting to get over.
NIQual and Jigsaw both fighting that same position as NIQual is now going to get away. He's on his back. He wasn't alone inside of open area. It did cost an adrenal surge from the Chiefs, but they've got 2 more in pocket, or I suppose in hand.
Yep. Great one. You get the whole squad laughing at that.
Look, the 43 people watching this stream right now are all very enthused with what we're saying.
What do you mean? It's a major game, Parker.
Think about how many got to hear you talk about islands. Boy, what a feather in your cap.
People are educated, okay?
Yes, we're educating Twitch chat. 1 island quote at a time. A little fun fact, a little FF for everybody, and I'm not talking about warfare. Chiefs have seized map control relatively quickly here. Yeah, they've done so with lots of drones still in pocket as well, Jesse.
I'm a little surprised with this op lineup. They didn't want to go more aggressive. Watch out for Ope, who's playing on the Oryx. He's currently inside of gold, although gold is reinforced. If he finds a hatch that he wants to jump up, he could have a really big flank that's not being expected by the Chiefs. but at the moment doesn't seem to be in a position to actually go for something like that. Instead, it's Cairo. Finds the opening pick onto Speakeasy, taking down the smoke player. Probably the most important pick that you could possibly get on this lineup. And now we've got the Twitch drone hunting for Goyo canisters. There are none. Unlike when Chiefs were defending on this site, a lot of the utility that you would want a Twitch for just hasn't really been brought out. No Goyo, no Mira. Means it's going to be tough to hold this down, but here's the flank from Ape.
And one also upstairs from NyQuil as he might not be spotted. He and Ape together. Down goes Jigsaw immediately as Ape relocates using the speed of that Ramada dash by the Oryx to get out of harm's way and now position himself over towards this server drop. Oda at the halfway point on the diffuser. It doesn't look like there's anything to stop him. Ape watched by Cairo. That's 9 kills and 1 death so far for Cairo. Oda dies in the post. Plan is now Shed, harassed by those bees. The location of the Echo well known. Quiz dies to Shed upstairs in open area. Tex will take up the same position. Plenty of bullets, but he can't control the recoil. Cairo in a 1v2. Diffuser down, and well, he's got to pick his poison now. Taking the engagement, Macy sees him around the corner. Chiefs denied match point at least for this round. But a motivating performance by Elevate as they have no problem with the counter disable. And they deprive their opponents of Chiefs from running away with this match.
Yeah, that felt must win, of course, for Elevate. If you had let Cairo put up the ace, put up the ridiculous clutch in that round, surely the mental would have been broken. That would have been 6-1, but we avoid that fate. And it will still prompt a tactical timeout from Elevate. They're still down by 3 rounds. That was not a comfortable win by any means. They let the plant go down. Usually we talk about the server bomb site as one of the strongest sites in Rainbow Six Siege for an attacking post plant. Now we've seen 2 of them fail. Both Chiefs and Elevate have managed to beat the odds and have won a post plant on the defense on that site. It's been impressive stuff for sure. It requires a lot of big aggressive moves, and some of those aggressive moves didn't work out. We saw the flank from Ape. Wandered into the angle near the hatch and got his head blown off. That was looking like the end of the round as they had nothing else to stop the plant with. But it didn't matter because they pushed up. They got some really good picks. You got to give credit to Macy. He's been absolutely the MVP of Elevate so far in this game. He went 1-9 against Dark Zero yesterday. They won that game against DZ, but it certainly wasn't easy. And you've got to imagine if Macy was able to put up a few more frags, that would have been a bigger impact. But in this game, Macy's been great. Through this tournament, he's the only player on Elevate with a negative KD. He's 11-19 coming into this matchup. But the fact that he's putting up so many good numbers now, the fact that he is the top frag of his squad, and almost of the server, 2 away from Cairo, means that that stat is going to trend more and more towards positive. All that's important is that you show up when your team needs you. And so far, Macy has been this game.
Very eager to hear the scoreline, by the way, of that SSG VP matchup happening on the other stream right now. This one has been a bit of a cakewalk so far for Chiefs. Again, not running away with it, but certainly in a very favorable spot. But 1 or 2 more rounds, and this is a completely different matchup. I was just told from our production team that the match over on the other stream is still going. It's 5-5 right now between VP and SSG. I do love the level of parity that we are seeing between these teams at all levels. Even though, like, our home region of North America isn't winning, they're still at least keeping it very close by winning 4 or 5 rounds in almost every single matchup.
Yeah.
That keeps them competitive, even if it ultimately doesn't net them to win. I'm sure many of those teams will still take that, but that SSG VP matchup is a 1-1 game, just like this. So neither of those teams will advance, and neither of those teams will go home.
5-5 scoreline on the A stream. Elevate would love to have a similar scoreline on the B stream. It's not going to get any easier, though, as Shed is the opening death, dying on to the player on Repel. Still, Chiefs have a lot of strong operators for this take, too. They've got the Blitz from Cairo, who's getting ready to run through the top floor when he has to. They've got Quiz on the Deimos as well, who can start hunting down these isolated players up above. It's actually 3 players still working at the top floor. Ape, one of them who takes so much damage. That's the problem. The hatch wasn't open, so he goes down. NIQual as well, dies to Quiz, leaving just Speakeasy now alone in the 1v5.
A minute and 20 seconds into the round.
This is tough.
Chiefs have absolutely dominated them.
This is really, really tough. Speakeasy needs a perfect 1v5 clutch. Hits the shot eventually.
Downs Oda. Now the vault over, but you're a Vigil. You don't exactly have weaponry to take a ton of different engagements, and I mean, at this point, what do you do? You got Cairo watching you. Cairo 10-2, flashing you out. There's a drop down to assist this. Tex, credit with the final kill. Chiefs move to match point.
Full blind in a 1v4, being Deimos tracked and a blitz standing right next to you. That might be the worst possible situation to find yourself in Rainbow Six Siege. And if you don't clutch out that situation, of course your enemy goes up to match point. That's 6-2 for Chiefs. They have been absolutely crushing this game so far. Elevate struggling to show signs of life in this matchup. You hate to say it, but it's just the truth. A lot of these rounds just falling away from them, even the few that they have won. You've seen some big mistakes coming out from Chiefs, so we want to see Chiefs closing this one out easy. I will say for the Australians, it's a very confidence-inspiring matchup. Maybe you're not up against one of the top teams in the world, right? Elevate, we're always going to be underdogs at this event, but this is still an important game to push you farther through this tournament. If you win this game, you go up 2-1, then you're playing all of a sudden for promotion to top 8, which means all of your next games will be best of 3s. I suppose if you lose this, all your next games are BO3s as well, because you'd be going down to elimination matches, which are also BO3s. But for Chiefs, you'd be much happier to be seeing the BO3s in the promotion bracket tomorrow, which is when those games will be played. They just need one more round in the next 4. They will be attacking here on Bank. Bringing out the blitz one more time from Cairo. It worked so well for them last time. Elevate have struggled sometimes against this blitz to have appropriate routes back to the bomb site to fall off when they see this the shield, which has been such a problem for so many teams this stage.
I've got Macy J on the mind, by the way, which is why I keep accidentally mispronouncing Macy's name. It's pronounced MC, and I should have corrected myself earlier on. I mean, Elevate is certainly a team that does not make it easy, as all of the names look like they would be pronounced differently than they actually come across.
Shout out to Shed, though. Shed's just Shed.
You really can't screw that one up.
No.
No, you can't.
Caster friendly.
It's Shed. That's it.
Yeah.
Bit of a disappointing start for Speakeasy so far today. I mean, this will be the start and the end. We have very fond memories of Speakeasy and Hysterics taking over games on that old Invictus Aerowolf Giants roster.
Jigsaw was on that Invictus roster with Speakeasy. Don't forget, they teamed together for about 6 months towards the start of 2022. They ended up getting top 4 in APAC South. That was their best result as a team before I believe Speakeasy left that team first. Was on it for a little bit before. Bit of a rivalry here. I'm sure both players would like to get one up over their former teammates, but at this point for Speakeasy, he's going to have to put up a miraculous performance if he wants to see that result. Jigsaw back on his favorite operator, the Lion. Played that pretty much exclusively throughout phase 1 of this tournament.
A small spoiler for you, by the way, from the A streams. Cover your ears for the next 5 seconds if you don't want to hear about it. VP defeated SSG. Yet another loss for North America. I don't really know what's going wrong with this region, but everything is completely fallen apart for them. Just as Shed and Elevate are at risk of falling apart this round too. Chiefs quick to enter, not as quick as the previous round. Already eliminating one. Tex being deployed a bit more aggressively on attack than what we saw out of him when he was a defender. Elevate have positioned themselves to greet that double door, and now also see those quarter panel walls opening up. Speakeasy had an opportunity onto the shield, and he gets Cairo. I don't know why they didn't account for this black mirror being in this position. Ape dies at the hands of Quiz as NyQuil sits inside a printer, still watching that same angle. Speakeasy has the cross. Where is MC? On the Warden. Jigsaw dying. There he is. MC watching the double door panel. He should be able to get a pick here onto the Ace of Oda. It was actually the Bravo of Quiz that first lined up. Tex dealing some damage, getting a pick, but that's all she wrote for that round. Very chaotic end to open area. But Elevate comes out on top. They're still staring down match point.
If Cairo wasn't putting up 10 kills, I would say that that was one of the worst blitz plays I've ever seen. But because he's doing so well this game, I will not go too hard in criticizing him. Certainly, though, that push could have been a lot better coming out from Chiefs. The blitz struggling at those longer ranges. They had the smoke grenades to try to go for a plant, but chose not to run that. Instead, trying to get deep into the site. Shut down by a mirror window. And Speakeasy, who we were just talking about in that round, putting up 2 really impactful kills alongside an Iqual, who has been very good inside the site. He will equalize his KDR to 7-7, meaning that he's going even now in this game. If they can keep up that strong site presence, that could be enough to bounce back. One of the things about being in a high-pressure situation, which you wouldn't expect 6-2 to be particularly high pressure, but at a major, it can be sometimes, is attacking is often somewhat difficult. Your former co-caster, Pengu, talks about this quite a lot, how oftentimes in these high-pressure situations at a LAN event, attacking is a lot more difficult than online because you've got to be the ones to make the movements. If you're nervous and you're on defense, you got to sit still and hold an angle. You can kind of do that, right? If you're freezing a little bit out of nervousness, it's kind of okay on the defense. It's an auto lose on the attack. So for Chiefs, they got to make sure that they keep on pushing with this. If they can push together and have a little bit better angles when they go for these attacks, if they keep running the blitz or if they run any other sort of strategy that could find more success. Cairo's moved over to the Osa. This is probably Osa's best site. And Iqual as well, trying to take some fights here in open area. Often you'll see the Osa push towards Garage rather than being in server for the plant like you might see in Ranked. But a cutoff in Garage with the Osa can be extremely effective. Clearly not the initial focus, though. They want to clear out these players in open area, but it's proving to be a more difficult task. Of course, that is Zombie inside.
Curious to see these bank numbers, by the way. It's a map that we haven't really seen a ton of here so far through the play-ins and phase 2. I'm wondering, is it just a very defender-sided map so far, or is it just the way that these teams have played? Chiefs looking more confident through most of this series. We'll have our answer likely at the end of the day or even tomorrow as we continue to get more information on these bomb sites. The first minute and 20 seconds of action. Chiefs finding an opening upstairs inside of what I assume was open area. This Tex does some serious damage. There's a drop and Jigsaw gets shed as well. 2 members of Elevate holding that middle floor. Attempting to get away, it does not work. Both logic bombs used at this point. Still got one EE, 1D in back pocket as well. Chiefs are very well situated as now they get the flash onto MC atop of blue. He has to throw out a Toxic Babe, and now back away to slow down the Chiefs' advance.
More flashbangs, too, coming in. This is he needs to get a kill here. If MC doesn't find at least one pick, you've got to imagine the round is going to end.
They're setting up to isolate him for the time being. Grim upstairs. Don't let the silhouettes fool you. That is an enemy. Ape's been dropped. MC and Speakeasy are the last 2 standing. Speakeasy likely inside of the site. 2 quick kills. And now it's all up to MC in that position. He'll be tracked away by the bees. Wait, down goes Ape. What's he doing still alive? It's up to MC. The silhouettes were incorrect for but a second. And it threw our brain for a loop. The game not making it easy for us, Jesse, certainly. 7-3, the victory as Chiefs pick up another win.
Seemed to look easy for them. Chiefs dominating in this matchup. I saw them at breakfast this morning. I asked them if they were going to win this one. They seemed confident then, and they seem confident now. This was one where they really did seem to shine as the top APAC team. They'll be the only team coming to the former APAC region who will now go 2-1 in our Swiss phase. Still opportunities. A lot of those teams still will be in the tournament. Scars, who lost earlier today, and Elevate, who have just lost here now, will have a chance to still fight and make it to top 8, but the road will be long. A lot of play still to come from all of these teams tomorrow when they get to the BO3s. But for today, the job is done from Chiefs. They can rest very easy. Clearly, their 3-0 streak on bank looking like a real legit streak here. They're looking very good on this map. They'll push the record to 4-0 with another win against a top team.
Both these teams good on bank, but obviously, yeah, Chiefs edging them out just a little bit. Elevate seemed to be in good spirits despite the loss, and they took this matchup in stride. You saw the jovial nature at which they were engaging with Chiefs in chat, especially at the start of this map. Both these teams know each other. former teammates on the side of both Chiefs and on this Elevate squad. They've played each other at international events before. There's camaraderie there. And honestly, it's not the end of the world for either of these teams. They both still live to see another day.
Absolutely, and there's still opportunity for Elevate to look at that game and try to improve. Felt like a lot of times they had players that were being on the defense left out on an island a little bit, you could say, where they were struggling sometimes to get back to the team when a blitz would run through their site. And when you're talking about Parker, a blitz would run through. They would find picks onto isolated players. They just couldn't return back to their teammates fast enough. That's something that maybe Elevate can look at going forward. Obviously, neither the attack nor the defense really standing up for them this game.
Support players on the side of from Australia doing quite well today. Virtue in the very first matchup was the top player for Secret. Tex playing a lot of those high-value, high-risk situations. His EPS wasn't particularly great, but still going 8-6 on his role is something that is very, very tough to do. The other support player of Oda at the position that we come to expect. Nobody really stood out one way or another on the side of Elevate, and I think that is the big issue with their roster. A rough go of it, and honestly one of the most lopsided BO1s that we've seen so far in the last 2 days of action.
Tough game from Ope, I will say, 3-9. Prior to this matchup, he was positive in every single game that Elevate had played here in Montreal. He went 17-11. Up against Team Secret yesterday, but for him now 3-9, obviously just not the game that he wanted to be finding. It happens. Everybody has bad games. Nobody can be positive in every match that they play. We're hoping to see Ape bounce back tomorrow when they get into those BO3s. That'll be an elimination game, so needs to do well in that one or they'll be going home.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the matchups tomorrow are like. You and I will be covering some of those. We're not covering any elimination games today. Those are all happening over on the other stream. The qualification matches, the good news matches, they're here on the B stream, baby. And we got our very first best of 3 coming up next. Jesse, the teams?
FaZe Clan and Falcons.
Battle of the Fs. And only one of them will prevail, meaning the other team will be pressing F to pay respects, as that team that loses will still have another shot. But which will be the first team to make it to the main stage on Friday here in Montreal? We'll be back with the start of our first qualification match in just a couple minutes.